Greetings viewers, this is Monotone Maverick coming at you with another review video. Today we'll be reviewing the 1/144 scale real grade RX-93 Nu Gundam. Now a brief history about this kit, or this mobile suit for that matter. This is actually the second mobile suit piloted by Amuro Ray. For those of you who don't know who Amuro Ray is, he's basically the OG pilot of the Gundam series. And his first mobile suit that he piloted was the RX-78-2 Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam, the original Gundam, the one that started his entire franchise from the mid-1980s or late 1980s for that matter. Now for those who want to know more about Amuro Ray or how Gundam really started, on Netflix right now there's actually a 4-part series of Mobile Suit Gundam. However, they were subbed, not dubbed. At least from what I can see, they were only subbed when I watched the first one. So I'm watching that currently. Is Mobile Suit Gundam Part 1, 2, 3, and the last one is Char's Counterattack. And I will briefly talk about that in a minute. Because in Char's Counterattack, there we go, that's when the Nu Gundam has debuted as being Amuro Ray's second mobile suit. Now this kit was mostly used during the second Neo Zeon war in UC 0093, hence the RX-93, part of his name. And this was actually designed by Amuro Ray himself. It was manufactured at the Anaheim Electronics von Braun plant. And actually, Char, who was piloting a Zaku, a red Zaku, also nicknamed the Red Comet. Eventually, he piloted the Saber. He caught wind of this, but he allowed Amuro to continue the design for the Nu Gundam. Perhaps maybe he just wants Amuro's A game, or maybe he just wants a proper battle. So he allowed the manufacturing of the Nu Gundam to go up against his Saber. But again, I'm still watching the Mobile Suit series on Netflix. So I definitely watch more of that so I get a much better idea of the history between Amuro Ray and Char. But that's brief on the origin and history of the Nu Gundam. Now onto the box. Now the box is just like any other real grade, as you can see. Has the face on the left and the full body on the right. Okay, close up here. The set RX-93 for the UC-93 gear. And that's the symbol for Nu. It kind of looks like a V or a little U. But that's just how it's pronounced. And here you see the skeletal system right here, along with some looks and structures, some gimmicks. You can move some parts of the body of the Nu Gundam. You can actually push down the skirt here for added mobility and articulation. On the other side of the box, you also see the weapons it has the Bazooka, beam rifle, the fin funnels here, which became very iconic for the Nu Gundam. And it actually was one of the first mobile suits to have the fin funnels, so that definitely is a good plus. Beam sabers here. And along with other movements you can do, whether it be on the legs, the cockpit briefly opens, and you can move the booster on the backpack. And that's about it for the box. And in the box, of course, you have the manual. And I'll say it actually has a good amount of runners. From here is A through L. And it has a small piece for the beam sabers. So about 12 runners. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 13 if you count this one. So 13 runners all together. Starts off with the legs, as I normally do. Then the waist, the torso, along with the arms. And of course you have the weapons here and the head backpack as well. The beam rifle. And the Hyper Bazooka. Beam Saber. This kit actually comes with 2 types of beam sabers, and I will show that in a few minutes. The shield, and of course how you store them onto the backpack. And of course the iconic fin funnels. And I'll show you a few things what you can do with them later into the video. And here you see where you can put all the decals onto the kit. I'm always hesitant putting decals because sometimes I do them and they just don't end up looking good. The only ones I think about putting on are the main symbols here. This one's for the shield, and this one, the new symbol, put on the left shoulder right here. But yeah, sometimes I put them on and they just don't end up looking good, so I just don't end up putting on these kits anyway. But if you have a better hand than I do, then by all means go right ahead. Along with the decals, you also see the color palette, what colors you need in case you want to make this stand a little bit more than the plastic that comes with the kit. And a small figurine of Amuro Ray in a 1/144 scale version. Okay. So that's it for the decals and the instruction manual along with the box. Now onto the kit. And here we have the real grade 1/44 scale Nu Gundam. And the one thing that I like about this is that it's pretty proportioned quite well. The legs and the arms aren't too big. The torso is pretty nice size. The only thing I would argue maybe the fin funnels might be a little bit too big because I was afraid that this may be a little bit lopsided or maybe just a little bit back heavy and may fall. But luckily this is holding out pretty well. And the fact that this kit is actually about a few years old, I think it actually came out in 2019. So the fact that after a couple of years, this actually hold out pretty well. So I am thankful for that. But yeah, proportion-wise quite well, and it's holding up pretty good too. And I tried to move this a little bit before the video, and luckily it has not have any loose joints, so I am thankful for that as well. Another thing too that I read about a couple of years ago was that other kits that came out before this one, and even before the Master Grade version KA of the Nu Gundam, many fans did not like the way how it was proportioned, like the head was too big or the torso was too small, stuff like that. But I can say that this actually proportion was very well. And from what I read online, comments saying that this is definitely one of the favorite real grades that are out there. And actually it's one of my favorites too. This was a very easy build, wasn't too complex. I did like it. It was a little bit different because there was some stickers that or labels that asked me to put on that were a little bit different just to make it stick out. Not really decals, but more so or just like silver pieces. Other than that, I was a little bit stunned by that, but at the same time, I was also thankful for it too. It did make this stand out just a little bit more. But yes, everything does look great with this kit, especially the colors. I was a little bit worried because I don't know if you can tell here, but there's actually white and almost like an off-white, a very, very light gray with this kit. I didn't think it really needs a different shade of white for this kit. But at the same time, though, it does make it stand out a little bit. Those colors are in the shoulders, a little bit in the forearms, and even legs as well. But yeah, now it's actually it did make the kit stand out a little bit, and I kind of do like that differentiation between a white and a off-white color. So yes, I do like that. And as for the fin funnels, honestly, I thought a black would look good, but this is actually a very, very dark navy blue. Actually, it's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, it's not a solid black color. And I kind of am thankful for that. I think a solid black color may not look too good, so having a very dark navy blue actually does look a little bit better. Whereas I believe in Char's counterattack, it was actually a black color in the show or in the 2-hour special. But other than that, it does counterbalance the white quite well. And now to show you the articulation. It's kind of pretty neat. There are some really good articulation points on the Nu Gundam. Start off with the head. It can go 180 degrees. Actually 360 really. But once I do that, the head just becomes a little bit loose. So I don't know, it just comes off the ball joint a little bit. And the head can actually just slightly, almost like a head banging motion. So the arms can go all around like so, can extend. A nice elbow joint like so, almost 180 degrees. The hand can go all the way around. The shoulder pads can go up like so. And one gimmick that this kit has is some extra points of articulation. The shoulder pads can actually come out like that. There we go. I personally don't think it's needed, but it's a nice little thing they have there. The torso can actually move like so. Waist movement, 360 degrees. The side skirts can move up just so you can have good leg articulation. And this kit can actually do a really good split. You know it's a good kit if it can do a split. And nice, it can go all the way up, and a nice then knee bend, like so. And the foot can go all the way down, all the way up, all around. And just a little swivel there. Another point, another gimmick they have is on the side here for the legs. These can actually come out like so on both sides. I think this is meant for some sort of like ventilation part. I believe so for the kit. And for the front skirts of the waist, these can actually extend down like so. And another ventilation part in the chest, and the torso. These can come out like so. This can extend out to see a cockpit, but really, the one thing I don't really like for these real grade kits is that there's actually no poly you can put inside a kit, like master grades or perfect grades. But that's where the cockpit will be. I think that's about it in terms of articulation and gimmicks. Actually, there is one more thing right here on the back. These can actually come out on the backpack. And the thrusters can go up like so. This can move slightly. And along with this, when you attach the fin funnels, I can move too. And there is a, if I can get my finger underneath there, there is a hidden point right here. That's where the beam rifle would be. There's a little connection point there. And yeah, that is about it for articulation. Now I'd like to show you all the accessories that come with the kit along with all the weapons individually. With this kit, it comes with a bunch of different hands or different type of manipulators. This one is a right hand that can use for a beam saber or even the bazooka, and I'll show that in a minute. Or you have the option of either an open hand or a closed fist, and they have one for both right hand and left hand. Little small figurine of Amuro Ray. I'm not very good with painting these small figurines. Maybe I will find a tutorial on YouTube so I can do that properly. Of course, here we have the shield, and as I was showing this, as this was attached earlier, very simple, sleek design, similar to most kits. Only difference is the red parts here are just missile pods or even like spare rockets or something. But yeah, standard, and of course, it only goes on one arm. At the very least, it's the only proper connection point that this can connect to. Right here, snaps on pretty easily, and I think it holds on pretty well too. Oh, well, okay, almost did. But actually, I'm kind of glad it did fall down, because when I was building this shield actually came off quite easily. That's the one thing I don't like about this kit too well, is that the shield will always come out very easily whenever I was posing it. Compared to Master Grade, from what I read, the shield actually stayed on the Master Grade a lot better. So I just put it down the side. And I'm just going to take this off to show you the beam rifle. And this hand will only work on the beam rifle on the right hand. They don't actually have a left trigger finger for the beam rifle. A little bit unfortunate. And if you actually take this point out, this is the connection point to put on a side skirt. If I can maybe I can take this off so I can show you properly. You want to just take that off, it's fine. So showing earlier, you can just take that peg and put inside that hole there, and that is how you, at least it's supposed to. There we go. And that's how you store the beam rifle. But I just like it better on a hand itself. This can connect back on. There we go. I'll put that back on later. But yeah, the beam rifle I actually do like. Very good size, very good proportion. I think it might be a little bit long, but at the same time though, I think it looks well for this kit. The one thing I do want to make a note of is the yellow that comes with this kit. I think the yellow only works good for certain areas of this kit, doesn't work with all the areas. I think the yellow here should be a little bit better. I was not too light, but maybe even darker for the beam rifle. Same thing for the vents underneath here. But that's just my personal opinion. That's the side. Next is the Hybrid Bazooka. I think this actually looks, I prefer this better than the rifle in terms of color-wise. I think it looks pretty sleek. And to properly store it, there's a little peg here that sticks out. You can just get your finger there. And it was shown earlier, actually it was on here on the backpack, there's a little hole there. So you just need to take that peg out and just place it here. And it's going to look something like this. So, get that out. And since I have the backpack, I'm actually going to show you this part. This is the main beam saber of the Nu Gundam. The Nu Gundam actually comes with 2 beam sabers. And I'm just going to show that right here. And there's a connection point right here where you put inside, there's a peg inside the hand and it goes inside that little hole there. And this comes with 2 effect parts, one for the top and one for the bottom. And they only go one certain way. Like so. And there's that peg I mentioned earlier. That was just sticking in there. like so. Put the other part of the fist back in. Should snap into place quite well. Almost. Give me a minute. Okay, and now it's going to look something like that. And as for the other beam saber is actually hidden as well. It's actually on this forearm. So what you do is you got to move this out just ever so slightly. And this, of course, is going to be a little bit finicky. Well, let me just, there we go. Just take that off. There. There's a little pig. Oop, my data just fell out. But that's where this is actually connected to. So this comes with 2 effect sabers. Just place it in there, like so. And just like how it was in the other hand, you just get that hole, place inside that peg, or place the peg inside the hole. There we go, that's how you're supposed to say it. That's the one thing I don't like about small kits such as this. Sometimes like pieces are kind of hard to hold on to. There we go. And you get some dual lashing for the beam sabers. Now back to the bazooka, I actually forgot to show you how to properly attach this. But yes, I did show you how to attach this on the back. But in order to probably hold this for the Nu Gundam, you actually need to extend the barrel like this, and you take this handle and you push it down like so. So, just take one of the fists. And we'll only work on the one on the hands that I just showed you. These are the only connecting ones they can use. There you go. Now this one's a little bit harder to connect, or at least harder to pose, just because of the way how it looks, but something like so. And last but not least, the piece de resistance, the fin funnels. Now the thing about these fin funnels is that these are just connected properly like so, but you can actually take these apart. And if you have a proper connection piece or proper display that you can connect all the fin funnels to it, great. I do not have that for the real grade, unfortunately. But you can actually get this attachment piece. You can display it around the Nu Gundam, and you can have the fin funnels going all different directions. Yes, I fortunately do not have that. So, and sometimes these can be a pain to actually connect. These connection pieces are on each side of the fin funnel, like so. And you can just push them down or push them up like so they don't stick out. And all of these can move independently, fully extended, and for an action pose, it's going to be something like this. And they can all fold up accordingly like so. And they attach to this little clip right here on the backpack. Most for display purposes is on this one right here. And from what I read, the fin funnels attach a lot better on the real grade than the master grade. So that is a plus. And one last thing I want to show you for weapon purposes is that this kit comes with actually 2 attachment pieces for the fin funnels. What I mean is, you actually can make another one like so. You can take this piece off for the beam saber, and this, there we go. And you can attach it like so. And now you can take these apart, put a set there, put another set here. You definitely have really good options to display the fin funnels for the Nu Gundam, like so. And that's about it for the weapons and accessories. And now for some size comparisons. Here is a Nu Gundam with the real grade Unicorn Gundam 02 Banshee Norn. Yep, there we go. Now, yes, the Banshee Norn is just a little bit shorter than the Nu Gundam, if you can tell. However, in its in its destroy mode, it's actually around the same height. Or best yet, here is the Unicorn Gundam Phoenix, but it's the high grade, so it is a little bit shorter. If it was the low grade, maybe it would be just as tall. Definitely, this is a lot taller just because of the armed armor pieces that's on the back. And to give you a good idea of how this compared to a master grade, here is master grade Barbatos that I did a review on not too long ago, so be sure to check that out. And one last thing I want to show you all is actually there are some connection pieces in case you want to put this on the action display. You have the main one right here on the back that's attached to the backpack. I prefer this one over. There's a small one right here, and this one actually goes between his legs right here, and it's supposed to be attached somewhat. If you give me 1 minute. And of course, with a proper attachment piece, you get something like this. And honestly, with an action base, the possibilities to pose this are endless. I really do like the way how this turns out in terms of just posability or articulation all in general. The fact that you can have this in various different poses, so definitely does make this a really good real grade. Definitely one of the best ones I have in my collection. And with that being said, let's go straight to the pros and cons. The pros, this is definitely proportion, as I mentioned before. The colors do work well. Even the off-white colors that I mentioned earlier definitely does make this kit just stand out just ever so slightly. They didn't need to do that, but it does make it look a little bit better, in my personal opinion. I'm glad not all the colors are identical in terms of where the white and off-white are. I definitely do like that. Next, of course, is I did briefly mention this, is the articulation / posability. You can definitely pose this in many different ways. Definitely do like that. Next is just the movement in general of all the points in the limbs, the arms, legs, even the waist. That's another good thing too about switching to real grades, is that you can do that. And this is definitely one of the newer real grades that, like I mentioned, in the past couple of years. I made a video of the real grade Strike Freedom, and when I was posing that, a bunch of pieces fall off, and I was not too pleased by that. But in this case, the pieces do stick well for the most part. And that kind of goes to one of my cons, is that sometimes some pieces do fall off, not as much as the Strike Freedom that I mentioned earlier. But the shield does not stay on quite well, which is why I don't have it on this pose currently. But the fact that only one of the main pieces do tend to fall off is not a big deal personally. But aside from that, I am thankful the way how this does turn out. Actually, there's not too many cons besides that, actually. Everything else seems pretty well structured, pretty well maintained, and the fact that I built this a couple of years ago and the fact that it's still stabilized quite well definitely does say something about this kit in general. So with that being said, is this a kit worth getting to add to your collection? Absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind. Whether you are a fan of Gunpla, a fan of model kits, or maybe just a fan of Mobile Suit Gundam, or even Char Counterattack, this is a really good plus to add to your collection. With that all being said, I want to thank you all for watching. This definitely was a great kit to build, a great kit to actually record. But yeah, all in all, thank you for watching. If you haven't done so, please hit that like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Definitely more videos to come, more kits to review, and more kits to build. I know I've been putting that off for quite some time. I've just been busy lately. But trust me, there are more kits to come in terms of Gunpla and Zoids. So tune in for that. Again, thank you one more time. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you all for subscribing, for those who are watching this too. And that being said, keep on building.